Welcome back to the studio. So finishes our first fight of the day. Soldat, what were your thoughts on that one?
I'm pretty disappointed at No Boundaries team. I thought that they would at least try the Verge on the verge of their boundaries, but that didn't happen at all, did it?
What happened with the target calling there? They seemed to split damage early in the fight between the Sleipnir and the Simi, and that really didn't work out well for them, did it?
No, they pretty much lost all their support and killed like one frigate or two frigates, something like that.
Did you
Oh,
expect
wait.
Simi to hold out as well as it did for as long as it did?
No, it didn't. Well, I thought they would at least kill the Scimitar and maybe one or two other ships with their Paladin and two Armageddons. Also saw two sets of guns on each of the Armageddons, so it wasn't just drone damage. But the split fire they did in the beginning was really detrimental to their loss.
And how much of that loss would you say was down to pure pilot error and bad target calling, and how much of it was down to what seemed to be a very, very strong fit from Verge?
Well, I don't think they would have won either way because triple Sleipnir, it was just basically like a version of a rush, and that beats most setups that you can come up with. If they didn't have the Armageddons and had something stronger for support, something that can deal with Sleipnirs and other fast, low signature targets, then maybe. But they didn't have enough control on the field. They only had the newts, but at the ranges they warped in, that wasn't enough to stop them getting on top of the primaries from the Verge side.
Did you expect that fit from No Boundaries? I mean, yesterday we seen them field initially a fairly clever triple EOS fit from when they were fighting Noir Academy, and then later on when they beat Deepwater, they fielded a Vargar setup. Were we expecting this fit at all? Were we expecting this fleet comp?
Yeah, it was pretty obvious when both teams banned three Marauders, so I thought at least one of them would bring one Marauder. I was convinced that both of them would bring some kind of Marauder setup, but yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say yesterday. It seemed to me that the Marauders did seem very, very overpowered throughout the day. Was there a reason? I mean, obviously they went and won this fight without it. But were you surprised that they didn't that Verge didn't bring a Marauder out to play?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised, but most people that are on Verge's team this year have been on my team quite a bit, and we like to test all our setups against Minotaur Rush, which was basically they ran a variation of that rush in their setup just now, which is basically you have three mobile battle cruisers like a Sleipnir with links, a mobile logistics like a Scimitar or Basilisk, and some support to tackle your targets so your battle cruisers can get on top of them.
Okay, so looking ahead to the next fight, we have Team Footwork versus Dunktown Abbey. The bannings are in. Footwork have banned the Scimitar and the Sleipnir, and Dunktown have banned the Ishtar and the Gila. So, what are we thinking about that, Solid?
It looks like we will see at least another one of them, which you might call Marauders, because they basically banned the Sleipnir, Ishtar, and Gila, which are kind of the ships you don't want coming up against, as we just proved, as they pretty much wiped the Marauder setup.
Team Footwork had that amazing fight yesterday with the Kronos Brawl at 0. Expecting something similar?
The Kronos Brawler at 0. I don't... Wait.
Yeah, Team Footwork, one of their fights yesterday, I'm just filling up the details just now. Team Footwork, when they fought something else, that was one of the best fights from yesterday. They brawled, cross brawling at 0. Did you enjoy that particular fight?
Yeah. Was that the fight where the one Marauder basically came out victorious against the whole team?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, not really. It wasn't really the Marauder's skill, but rather the lack of skill on the enemy team. because it's quite easy to counter these Bastion Marauder setups with a more mobile team that can basically get out of its range within a minute because they basically just are immobile with the Bastion module online. So something like a rush setup or drone-based setups with sentries, which basically means you can apply full damage almost all of the time because how great the tracking on sentries is.
Dunktown fielded the triple Stratos fleet comp yesterday, which I think we were all incredibly impressed by. Are you are you buying in Stratos now as a tournament capable ship? Are you impressed with its capabilities on field, or is this um, trying it because it's new type scenario?
I think they tried it because it looked kind of good on paper, but I don't think it holds up to some of the more solid setups we've seen last Alliance tournament or even this SCL, like setups from Verge.
Yeah, so we're not convinced that the Stratos is an actual tournament performer as a ship in itself.
Yeah, it's basically a drone boat with some bonus laser tracking, I think, on medium lasers, but it doesn't really come up as a top contender ship. You won't see many setups fielded by the best teams with it.
So that when new ships are introduced to the game via CC, when you're working with your teammates on figuring out fleet comps and how you're going to perform in the next tournament, how do you integrate new ships into your testing? How does that work?
Okay, so this is how you do tournament testing, okay? You spend about a month coming up with setups, posting them on a forum, then upgrading those setups, going through many iterations of those setups, posting them on a forum. Then you basically test what you think will be the best setups against some setups that have already proven themselves in the past, like a Minotaur Rush or some other of our strongest setups. And then you have a guy, link them on the Scrap Heap forums. Then you basically use them throughout the tournament until the finals, okay? Now, when you get to the finals, you start panicking and you basically go to Jita and buy random ships and then basically fly the finals in those ships and then lose the finals. So
So
maybe
everybody panics to the final. Is that what you're suggesting? That there's always a little bit of nerves, a little bit of butterflies going into the final, no matter how practiced and experienced and how much work you've done beforehand. Getting to that finals, there's always butterflies there.
you basically you have like these solid setups in place to win the game, right? And then you basically no, we will do something we just thought of 5 minutes ago. It's gonna be great, guys.
And how, I mean, obviously we've seen the Gnosis added to the game. We've now seen the Sisters of Eve ships being how difficult does it make testing and training when new ships come in, and how do you integrate those into your new ships? Do you just throw them into a fleet comp and see how they work out, or I mean, is there a bit of EFT warrior going on, or how does that work?
Yeah, there's plenty of EFT warrioring, but basically you integrate new ships in place in setups that already have similar ships in place. Like you would integrate a Gnosis into a setup with Harbingers, and then you see if the Gnosis does better over a few tests, and if it doesn't, then you just leave the Harbinger in, or swap it off for Vangles or something like that. It's just you basically put them in place of similar ships already in the game.
What advice would you give to junior FCs out there? There's some aspiring potential team captains out there who are starting to fool around with small gang PvP, perhaps thinking about um, taking the next step and considering pulling a team together of friends for something like the Syndicate Competitive League. How would you? What would you recommend as some of the key tips those guys would need to know before they take the next step up?
Don't be bad at the game. Be a good player.
I take it. I mean, I guess for this kind of thing, you basically have to be on. You have to be on CC. It's essentially unavoidable if you want to test these new ships and practice as much as possible. You have to get yourself on CC. It would be the first step. I would take it.
No, yeah, sure. If you want to practice, I think the first SCL we won, we didn't practice at all, and then we just We even use sins. That was pretty funny. But yeah,
Okay,
basically, if you want to practice and you take this like really seriously, if you like take this really seriously, you want to take it to the next level, you find a wormhole on Singularity and basically move there with all your ships, so no one finds out that you're testing for the Syndicate competitively.
Okay, the both teams are just landing on field right now. Team Footwork and Dunktown Abbey. What are we thinking for this one? We've started to see the fleet comps set themselves up on the field there. So that, what's your predictions for this one?
Well, looks like both teams brought fairly similar setups. I think they're the same.
They
I'm
look
not
pretty similar
sure.
to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of mirror ships on field. I think, yeah. Okay, so we have a Marauder on field, and the enemy team fielded two other battleships which aren't Marauders, so that's pretty interesting.
You slightly
I
surprised
guess,
by that?
yeah, maybe the team that fielded the two battleships have tested it against the Marauder setup and have found that it beats it, I guess. I don't know why you wouldn't bring a Marauder to this kind of match.
Okay, so let's have your predictions. We have Team Footwork and Dunktown Abbey. Who do you think is going to take this one down?
I think Downtown Abbey will take it, although I'm not sure which is which because Apathetic Brand is not very good at the game.
He is terrible at Eve, isn't he? I mean, he is. I mean, we all are obviously, but he's a
Yeah,
special snowflake
yeah.
in that regard.
He likes to stream secret setup forums on his Twitch stream.
I heard that rumor. I heard the rumor that he likes to throw fleet comps around that he probably
It's not
shouldn't
even
do.
a rumor; it's quite true.
Okay, we're just getting ready for this fight. We're just getting ourselves set up and in position. My prediction for this one, based on their performance from yesterday, has got to be Team Footwork. I thought those guys flew superbly yesterday. They got a little bit of luck, I think. I think some of their opponents perhaps didn't do as well as they could have done, but they made that Kronos do a lot of work yesterday, and that alone gives them a big thumbs up from me. Yourself, sold that?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with whatever team Valencia Marina is on, because I'm gonna do a call out. Good job, warping to not 50 and being moved to 0.
That's always a good effort. That's always a good effort. We're just getting set up on field. I think we're just about ready. Bear with me, and we'll get ready to get started. The fight after this one, of course, when we finished up with Team Footwork and Dunktown Abbey. Next up, we have Something Else and the Mighty Reputation Cartel. What are you expecting from that one, Soldat, looking ahead?
Reputation Cartel versus something else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What are
Okay,
you
looking
expecting
at the
from that one?
bans, I expect that Reputation Cartel will bring a Marauder, and something else will bring a counter to the Marauder. So it will come down to their piloting skill.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that, well, Reputation Cartel, they have a reputation, I think it's fair to say. So we're going to wrap this one up here, and we're going to move over to the commentary team of Alexiev, Karda, and Ellen Dar for the next round.